Hello, good evening, and welcome. I'm Lauren Lefkowitz, and welcome to my weekly live mindset shifts and the what ifs. Super happy to be with you this week. Way less tired than last week. Last week I showed up, and sometimes that's what we do, right? Sometimes we just we are in the room. Here we are. Thanks for coming. This week I feel like I am ready to show up actually, which is good. And we have all these different times and phases in our lives, and sometimes those phases happen in the same week and sometimes they happen over time. And I've been a little low energy for lives, I would say, the last little while. And my energy is coming back for them. And I'm happy about that. And so if you are here joining me today, if you're on Instagram, you're sort of up into my side a little bit because Instagram doesn't integrate with the other live video platforms. So if you want to see me looking directly at you, come see me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Otherwise, usually people on Instagram are more listening than they are watching. So I'm glad to have you with me. So mindset shifts and the what ifs is about the stories we make up. And this has come up a bunch of times actually in the last week with clients, with a couple of potential clients, that we create for ourselves the what ifs, right? A situation happens at work, a situation happens at home with a friend, with yourself, and our brain immediately creates 100 scenarios about what could happen. None of those scenarios are ever, you know what, it could be amazing. All of the scenarios are about what could go wrong. And it's our survival brain in action. And so I think that then we start blaming ourselves for having this survival brain. And I just kind of want to normalize that. If you're in a place where, 2023 has been a weird year globally, locally, personally for a lot of people. And if your brain is making up all of the things that can go wrong, just know that you're not alone. It's totally normal to do that. And also it doesn't have to be that way. And so I always, try to work with my clients, especially, and with myself, right? We're our own clients also, sort of in a kind of non-objective, but very self-aware way. We are our own clients. I try to have a finish to the story, right? If I'm coming up with all these worst case scenarios, I'm actually usually stopping in the middle of the worst case scenario, and sort of spiraling about how bad it could get. And part of ending the what if cycle is actually finishing the story. So if I have a weird conversation with my CEO, I am my own CEO right now. So that's but I had a CEO and was a VP for quite a long time. And if I had a weird conversation with my CEO, my MO would be to sort of spin about all of the things he might say in reaction to that, and all of the things he might do and all the actions he might take. And if I want to stop spinning, I actually finish the story, right? So, okay, what's the worst that could happen? Well, he could be really angry at me. Okay, and then what? I mean, he could be so angry he fires me. Okay, and then what? And then I have to get another job. Can you get another job? I mean, yeah, it'll be hard, but so you're employable. Yeah, I'm employable. And then I step back into what is the likelihood of the reality of my boss getting so angry with whatever happened, whatever probably small mistake I made, that I have to be fired for it. And the likelihood is slim to none. So then I would ask myself, what's a little bit more likely than that? And really try to get myself to a more realistic story of what could be, and also think about what is my role in this. Can I go in the morning and say, hey, boss, I want to talk to you about this. And I've never called a boss, but, we're not using names here. If I went in and said, hey, I want to talk to you about this, what would happen then? What control am I taking on? What is my version of what happened and why? And where can I take responsibility? And where can I take action to move things forward? So anyway, that's a little aside. And it came up because I was talking to somebody about this show, and I said it's called Mindset Shifts and the What Ifs. And they asked, what are the what ifs? So I explained them, and that's them for you. So now that we've done that, let's get to spinning our wheel. And if this is your first time watching one of my weekly Tuesday night at 7:05 Eastern Mindset Shifts and the What Ifs shows, gosh, that was a mouthful. Each week I spin a wheel, I choose a topic. That's the topic that we talk about. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And again, if you're on Instagram, I will tell you what the topic is. If you're following me anywhere else, you will see the topic come up on the screen. And wheel. And we've come up with good topic, being stuck. We talk about being stuck, and let me get the script away. Terrific. Okay. We talk about being stuck as though it's a place that we cannot emerge from. And where do we get to feel stuck? We get to feel stuck, and I'll come in from the career perspective, but we've hit the top job we can get in the company that we're in. And that may mean we are the vice president or senior vice president of something, and there's nothing above that except CEO, and maybe you don't aspire to be CEO, or maybe the CEO is the owner of the company and they're not going anywhere. Or you've been told, hey, Lauren, this is the highest you're going to get in this company. This is the best it's going to be. So, this is it, right? You can get stuck in the money that you're making. I see this a lot with especially executive women and emerging to executive women, which is that we, oh, hey, Heather, welcome. Heather's joining us on Instagram. If you're joining us anywhere, come and say hi. So Heather, we're talking about what being stuck means. And it's in quotes on my wheel. So you got quotation, air quotes from me. So you can get stuck in your level. You can get stuck in the money you're making. I see a lot of executive women and emerging executive women go into the same job over and over. Like they hit a level, whether that's manager or director or VP or EVP, that they hit this point where they think that's the best they can get. And so they keep going to the same $110,000 job. I've also seen where layoffs happen and we get stuck in this spiral of going to a job that's like $10,000 less and another $10,000 less and another $10,000 less until we're making a lot less than we were making. But where I see people get stuck much more often than these sort of easy to directly identify and directly see kind of scenarios, like checking the box of, is it title? Is it money? Is it that I keep going after the same job? Is in the patterns, the unhealthy patterns that we create for ourselves. And I think a lot of times what happens, and especially for women, is that we are taught to be good girls. We're taught to be pleasing. We're taught to be helpful. And so it becomes in our nature until we learn differently and we learn about boundaries and we learn about, how dudes handle their jobs, that our way tends to be I'll give it my all, and then I'll give it 15% more than my all until I am so burned out that I don't want to be here anymore. And that's when we get stuck because we don't know how to back out of the overcommitments that we've made. So our version of being stuck in the middle of our careers very often is because we have hit this place where what used to work for us, the going above and beyond, the volunteering for the teams, the being flattered when we were picked for stuff that we didn't even realize we could go for, that has now all like balled itself up into this big giant set of too much responsibility, a lot of which you're not really that excited about because at one point it was a learning experience and then it became your job. And it's like, there's no joy in it. And what you actually want to do, you don't have time to do because you're so bogged down. And so the stuck point here and the spiral we go through is this compulsion to keep doing what we're doing, the way we're doing it, added compulsion to do more because we imagine that people forget how much we're doing. So if we don't keep volunteering and keep raising our hand and keep going, yes, I'll do more stuff. Count me in, bring me in the meeting, that we will be either totally forgotten or perceived as lazy and perceived as underperforming because we've been overperforming for so long that we don't know how to just like be normal. Like we don't even know what normal is. So our stuck point is we resent the work we're doing. We don't know how to get out of the work we're doing. So we figure we'll just keep doing it until we die or retire. And friends, that is no place to be. That is like a really upsetting place to live. And it's really challenging to untangle from. And the ways that I've seen people untangle from it that are not healthy are complete burnout, leading to like full withdrawal from the system. And those are the worst ones because they're really hard to come back from. I've seen it really, 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 really occasionally happen, but this is the exception and not the rule. If somebody switches jobs and they go to a company that forces balance and forces boundaries and lanes on them, most companies will not do this for you. I'm evidence of that because one of the companies I worked for in my workaholic days was a company where people work 37 and a half hours a week pretty regularly. And I came in and I was like, not good enough for me. I'm going to 60 or 70. And I set a new level of how I would perform differently from my peers. And then I didn't know how to get out of it, even though nobody was telling me to work, such huge amounts of hours. I took on a lot of responsibility. I raised my hand for a lot of stuff. And then I didn't know how to back out of it. The really most likely scenario is somebody else helps you out of it. In my experience, it was a coach. It was actually a series of coaches who helped me with different things along the way. But before it was even a coach, it was a peer who recognized her former self in me and said, hey, I've been where you are and I see how stressed you are and it can be different. And just hearing that it could be different, just finding another human who felt like she saw where I was currently and had the ability to back out of it and not be just embroiled in workaholism for the rest of her career was really inspiring for me. Hey, Katie, welcome. And so as I developed my own skills for getting unstuck, for no longer being stuck in the muck of always doing, feeling like I then had to do more, raising my hand for everything, resenting it, and then starting that cycle all over again. I needed to find somebody who had undone that process. So I found that person, and then I found a couple more people. I did that through networking. And then I hired a coach. And the coach helped me really look at me in the ways that I didn't have the capacity to look at me. And like I said, I had more than one coach along the way. Heather, thank you, Heather. Heather said, "Stuck in the muck" should be trademarked. I'm going to make some t-shirts with some of the things I say. I think I've got like a whole line of sayings that people should really love. And Katie said, "As should fine as a trap." That is true. Fine as a trap should be on t-shirts and mugs and laptop stickers, and look out for my merch line 2024. If anybody knows how to build a merch line, come talk to me. So anyway, I'm distracted because, you know, people who I talk to all the time about things that go off the rails are here on Instagram on my live. So professionalism out the window. You know, so for me, getting my sort of initial level of unstuck was in talking to somebody else, was in finding somebody else who had undone some of the things that I didn't think I could undo. Then getting that professional insight and that person who was my coach, who believed in me in a way I wasn't yet ready to believe in me, and asked me the questions to help me unfold what was already in me. And so that was a really cool experience. And then once I started learning how to be unstuck, how to set new boundaries, how to decide like what I wanted to be next in my life and career, then I had the momentum. Then I went from an executive coach to a business coach who is watching us live right now on Instagram. Hi, Katie. And my business coach helped me go from, goodness, it would be neat to own a business now that I've set some boundaries at work and I don't work 80 to 100 hours anymore. And to be able to talk to somebody who builds businesses for coaches and consultants for a living. And that's Katie McManus. If you don't know her, connect to her on LinkedIn or follow her on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. She's amazing. But Katie helped me recognize that I didn't have to think of my future as someday, and that I actually could build the future I wanted starting like then, right now, whenever now was. And I continue to work with Katie like 3 years in, and she really challenges me to find space for the things that I need space for, and also find new ways to challenge myself, how to look at whether something is misaligned for me or whether something is just scary and I need to sort of get over it. There's a lot of conversation about getting over things in a really supportive way. And that's what a coach can do for you. So if you, my area is corporate women. Now that I've just hyped up Katie, tell her I sent you. But my area is corporate women. And I work with women who are like I was, in that people-pleasing spiral, in that workaholic mentality, and in that stuck place where it didn't seem like there was anything other than what I was already doing, because often I was the smartest one in the room. And I don't say that from a place of arrogance. I say that from a place of, I was invited into the room because I could have the reasonable conversations. I could mediate the conversations. I could support my team. I could support your team. I could support up. I could support all around. I could look at the big picture and the small details and help everybody sort of hone in on what needed to happen and how to do it nicely and kindly. And these are good qualities to have when you're in a corporate environment and people count on you for them. And also, if all you do is serve other people and you never look out for yourself and you never take care of you in your workplace, then you never get to take care of you at home, and you never get to actually make time for your future and for planning for your future and for deciding what you want to be when you grow up, no matter how old you are. You could be 30, 40, 50, 60 and be ready to decide that you want something different. Thank you, Katie, is complimenting my sweater on Instagram. It is a super soft and very comfortable sweater. And it is not orange, which a lot of my clothes are either orange, black, or dark gray. So I've got a green sweater on now and, feeling edgy about it. So if you are in a place now, and this often comes up like right at the end of the year, right where we are now, right before the holidays and during the holidays, and you're noticing that like everybody's taking vacation but you. Everybody is saying, oh, I'm not going to check my email this weekend. Everybody seems to be leaving early for their kids' recital or for a family dinner, and you are behind in the office, whatever your office is, whether it's like an office or your at-home office. But you are always working and you are picking up everybody's slack. That's a great sign that you're stuck in this cycle of pleasing and lack of boundary setting. If you love that, and some people do, some people thrive on it, and I thrived on it for a bunch of years before I turned the corner and resented it. If you thrive on that, go for it. Good for you. Make sure you're being compensated well, and make sure you're getting the promotions that you deserve. And if you're not, go find something else. But when you hit that wall, and most of us do, and you don't know what to do, that's where I come in. As an executive coach, I can come in and help you figure out what's wrong, right? A lot of people come to me and the first thing they say is like, I don't even know what's wrong. I just am not happy. I was happy in my career for all of these years. And now I find myself saying, it's fine all the time. It's fine that I have all this extra work. It's fine that I haven't gotten a promotion. It's fine that I don't get raises. It's fine that every time I go to a new company, I have the same salary over and over again. If you have to convince yourself it's fine, it's probably not fine. And that's when it's time to have a conversation with an executive coach. So if you are in a position where you're ready to have a conversation about what could be possible for you, about figuring out what you actually want to be doing, how you actually want things to be going, how you want to feel at the end of a workday, how you want to feel when you're taking a vacation, how you want to experience your paycheck. And, do you want to be counting, as I had done in my past? And I have clients who do this. They come to me and they say, oh my gosh, I just calculated how many hours I'm working and how much money I'm making. And by the hour, I'm making less than my team because I'm working double the time that they're working, right? So when you start coming to these realizations that things are well below fine, and you are coming to this recognition that you don't actually want your career to be that way, it's time to have a conversation. I do a free strategy call. It's a 30-minute strategy call. It's very low pressure. I'm not going to try to get you in a car by the time we get off this call. If you're going to commit to executive coaching, it has to really come from you. It can't come from me pushing you so hard into some sort of package that you don't feel like you can walk away without feeling guilt about it, or without feeling like, you've been forced into something. It's actually a great conversation to have, because for a lot of people, it's the first recognition that they actually do want something to be different. So send me a DM or go into my about section. I'll also, after this live, tag my strategy call appointment in the chat. And I would love to chat with you about what your life can look like, because it doesn't have to just go the way it's going just because that's the way it's been going. Thank you so much for joining me. Have an amazing night. Have a great Thanksgiving if you celebrate that. And I'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Bye.